I'm going to give you my opinions of my Derette DRT450 after owning it for 1 year. I bought it last summer. I bought it directly from China. I ordered it from Derette, as many of you know. I put it on my credit card because I assumed that this machine would help grow my YouTube channel and make my life a little easier. And you know what? It does. It makes my life so much easier. I have a variety of machines. I have a bigger Derette machine, the V1000 with a Kubota diesel, but this one is usually my go-to. I just really like the small size of the 450 and the reliability of this Honda gas engine. So I'm going to give you a breakdown of everything that's gone wrong with this in the last year and what my thoughts are on it now, and show you some tips and tricks and things I've learned about this particular machine. Now, I do have to say that the new DRT 450s have a lot of changes done to them, a lot of improvements over what this machine is. And things that we found, we the owners of these over the last year, we found that we thought could be improved. Derette has improved them. And so the new version is even better than this one. Now, rumor has it that Derette's going to be coming out with a machine just like this with pilot controls. And so you just can steer it with one hand, one joystick, just like the bigger machines and my V1000. So let me start by giving you a walk around. I did just clean it up today, so it's looking nice and pretty. I'm at almost 71 hours on the clock here. And everything still looks really nice. And everything works the way it should. Now, I did have a hydraulic oil leak that I fixed, and it messed up my stickers on the engine. So those don't look so pretty. Now, fitting came loose. I tightened it up, and it's good as new. But overall, you wouldn't realize that this machine has 71 hours on it. It's actually really clean. And I've done all kinds of projects with it. I've used all of my attachments on this machine. I use my pallet forks more than anything else. I use the bucket. I use the stump grinder. I use the mulcher. I use the trencher, the log splitter, the sweeper, the 4-in-1 bucket, the auger, the land leveler, and the brush cutter. And it runs every one of those with no problems. So I let a buddy borrow it one afternoon, and he got something stuck in there and with the track and just drug it along there, so it scratched that up pretty good. I've been greasing all the fittings, so there's some dirty grease in there. Everything actually looks pretty solid. There are a few little things that don't look brand new. Like all the times I've had to mess with the track. Now that I know the tricks of the tracks, they don't really come off anymore. But there's some scratches and some chips and such. So the new machine no longer has this notch. It's open like all the way over. So you don't have to have the 32mm offset wrench to get to the adjuster for the track. You can just use a normal wrench and it'll fit in there. And that's a big update. Something I dislike about this machine is these are the tie-down points when you want to put it on a trailer. On the rear, doesn't have any. I hook on there, and that's why that's gotten scratched up over the months. The new ones have a tie-down point in the rear, and they have a tie-down point over here, and that's a game changer. The new ones don't have a latch like this. They've got two little latches, and it's easier to open. The new one also doesn't have this here. This is your on switch, and it has padding on the sides. Also, this rear cover, you have to pull these 8 bolts off to get the cover off. The new one has a cover within the cover, and you flip a couple rubber latches and just pull that open. This is the old throttle. It works great, but some people want a throttle you can push forward and backwards. So let's turn this thing on. Still fires right up. Everything works. I love the fact it has the auto level arms. So I just raise the arms and see these pallet forks are still sitting level because of the auto level arms on it. It's got these two arms. Now I have bumped them. Let me lower this just a little bit here. They have bumped before and chipped the paint just a little bit, and that's happened on both sides. Doesn't affect anything, but the tolerances are really tight and it has bumped there, and there's a little notch out of that. Not a big deal to me, but it's just something to note. Now underneath the hood, I washed it out today. It looks a little ugly, but yeah, I mean, it works. Everything's still there. It still looks good. Now, another complaint I have about this, see all this dirt in here? I washed it out and there's no drain. The only place it drains is this hydraulic fluid drain. So you have to tip it on a hill with a front facing down, and if you do that, it'll leak out the water that's inside. Otherwise, that water's sealed up in there and there's no escape. And that's kind of a pain. But everything still looks good. The hoses, lines, valves, I mean, everything works. There are some rub marks, like from this hood. See that? Not a big deal. If you want a perfect show machine, I'd recommend you don't use it. You just, I don't know, build a museum around it. And it probably would look better for you. Me, on the other hand, I do use my machine. I actually use it all the time. The reason the forks are on it right now is because I got a new barbecue grill and my old one kind of rusted out and I needed to move it. It's just easier to move it with the forks. I had to bring some tables for a pool party that we had the other day, and so I went back to my shop and put the tables on the forks and just drove them to the house. It's so much easier than trying to carry them myself. But everything works as intended. There's no problems with anything working on it. It's got tracks, so it still tears up the yard just like any old track machine would, but it works great. So some people ask me, can you move the arms up and down while you're moving? Well, you can, but to move the arms, see this lever, to the right is up, to the left is down. Well, rear is reverse, forward is forward. So you have to be careful. See, I'm pulling back and to the right. So it's going up, but I have to do it slowly. So I'm going forward, and I can raise it, and I can adjust it. So, see, you can do it, but you have to do it slowly and carefully. It took a while to get used to that, to tell you the truth. But you can do it. You just can't go wide open throttle on it, because if you do, when you start to move it, you turn a little. You just let off just a little bit and it works just fine. So issues I've had with this in the last year. The drive motors that came with it were leaking. So Dean from Derette under warranty sent me 2 new drive motors, and I made a video on replacing my drive motors. It was kind of a pain, but now that I have the tools and I know how to do it, it's not really that big a deal. And I have upgraded drive motors and I haven't had an issue since. I've also had issues with the tracks coming off. When I first got it, the tracks came off a lot. What I now know, that was user error. Now that I know more about using the machine, I know how to use it without the tracks coming off. some tips. 1, make sure your tracks are tensioned properly. You need them tight. Number 2, don't make sharp turns in grass, in dirt, in mud. What you want to do is you want to do long sweeping turns. You don't want to like do a 0 turn skid turn on this thing on the grass, because it has so much ground pressure on the bottom. What it does is it starts pulling the track here off. So when you move, it pops it off the roller. So now I know that was user error, tracks coming off, and I haven't had issues since. Another issue I had is I had a hydraulic line come loose underneath here. One of these lines in here, actually one of these somewhere in here on the inside, it was loose. So I had to get a wrench and tighten it up. Not a big deal, but I did lose a lot of fluid. So I had to put a bunch of fluid back in it and clean all the sprayed fluid off. Now that just happened within the last 5 hours of it. So besides that, there's no major drivability issues, no usage issues, besides a little leak on the track. And with a leak on the track, it wasn't that bad that I couldn't operate it. I actually operated it for about 2 or 3 months with the leaking drive motor. It just left little puddles here and there, but it still worked just fine. Now, when that fitting came off, it took me about a minute or 2 to figure out what the fitting was. It was pretty easy, and I tightened it up. Now, the problem with that, it did put me out of commission for a little bit because it sprayed fluid on my muffler blanket. And so that had to burn off, and it was just some smoke in my face for a little bit. But I let it run, burned it off, and it works great. One other minor thing, the fan on here has a little screw that holds it on. I had to pull this cover off with these 10mm bolts, and then take the fan off, put the nut back on, and tighten it up. Now the fan works great. And that's really it. In 70 hours of use, just some minor things. And now that those are fixed, I don't know, I can't see a whole lot else that could really go wrong, because the drive motor started leaking right away because it was a flawed part. The rest of it, it just works. I mean, there might be some little things here and there, but if you do need to work on it, it's actually really easy to work on. So, just a real quick update for you on my machine. It's been a year. I still love it. I plan to keep this machine for a long time. Now, I do have a DRT450 coming from Derette, which is very similar to this. I even ordered it in green. But the big difference is it doesn't have this drive motor up high, which gives the triangle-shaped track. It actually has drive motor front and rear. So it's 4 different drive motors, and so the tracks are oval-shaped, but you can pull the tracks off and put wheels and tires on it. So we'll see how that works out when I get it. I'm going to test that, and I'm going to compare it to this 450. It does come with the same engine as the 450, the Honda GX690. I'm going to put them side by side, and we'll see how they do. Now, something that will make me get rid of this machine, if Derette comes out with a new DRT450 with pilot controls. Because if it had pilot controls and I didn't have to use both sticks, I could just use one stick, I would get rid of this and get the new one with the pilot controls. But besides that, I can't imagine ever getting rid of this. I really like it. This is, like I said, my go-to machine. It's simple, it's easy, it works, and yeah, I would highly recommend, if you want one of these machines, this is probably the best homeowner machine on the market. I mean, tell me another machine under $10,000 that works as well as this does for homeowner use. Ease of maintenance, ease of use. You know, beginners can use it with the auto level arms. Honestly, in my opinion, this is probably the best one on the market for a homeowner. So, I know I sound like an advertisement, but I really do like my machine. So, yeah, there's that. But anyway, thanks for watching. If you want some more updates on the machine, you want to see about my life out here in the trees and some of the cool projects I have coming up, man, like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me, mean a lot to the channel, and I have a lot more content coming up, and I have some big things coming in the world of mini skid steers. Big things. So stay tuned. Have yourself a great day. Enjoy your time in the trees, and we'll see you on the next one.